What if America had lost the War of Independence? The number of American rebels was small at first. Britain had every reason to believe they'd be crushed. Indeed, some were defeated early on. What if Britain won the colonial war? First of all, it would have been brutal. In May 1870, an American force surrendered at Waxhaws. The Redcoats simply slaughtered them. More than 100 men were killed. New York remained under Loyalist control. American captives were rounded up en masse. The British put them on ghastly prison ships. 11,000 prisoners died of diseases as a result. The British had a recent experience of crushing rebellions. In 1775, they executed the leaders of a failed Scottish uprising. King George III vowed to do the same to the Americans. There would have been no founding fathers. Washington, Jefferson, and others would have been hanged. What about the rest of the colonists? Britain would have certainly imposed punishing taxes. Food crops would be sold off or shipped to England. The result might have been widespread famine. That's what happened in Ireland in the 1840s. The British might have seized rebel-owned land and homes too. They'd seized the estates of disloyal Scottish nobles. Britain promised land to the Hessian mercenaries that fought for it. Each soldier would have received 50 acres. It would have been a radically different society. However, slavery would have been abolished sooner. Parliament abolished the slave trade in the British Empire in 1807. In 1833, Britain banned the owning of slaves in most of its colonies. Until 1869, the British Navy seized other nations' slave ships. This resulted in the freeing of 150,000 captive Africans. America would have been spared a civil war. Of course, there would have been no USA. In fact, the American colonies would have a different geography. The 7 Years' War ended in a peace treaty. In 1763, France conceded control of all contested lands to the banks of the Mississippi. Britain wanted to keep that region wild and unsettled. The frontier was officially closed to the settlers. So we'd have no Midwest today. There'd be no Kansas, no Ohio, and certainly no Indiana. But what would have happened to those lands? Well, the Mexican-American War wouldn't have happened. So Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico would have been Mexican. This might have made Mexico a very influential world power. The West might have remained under Native American control. The Comanche Empire dominated the Great Plains in the early 1800s. With no westward expansion, it would have grown powerful. The Comanches might have developed cavalry and used firearms. As a result, they might have created a powerful nation. Without American independence, history would have been different. For example, the French Revolution wouldn't have occurred. French revolutionaries were inspired by American ideas. Their 1799 Declaration of Rights was indebted to the Declaration of Independence. France had spent lots of money on supporting American rebels. This destabilized its economy, precipitating the revolution. This alone would have changed everything. The French Revolution was a pivotal moment in European history.
We should not look back unless it is to derive useful lessons from past errors and for the purpose of profiting by dearly bought experience.
George Washington.